This is Andy Tube. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set the needle bar and the presser bar at the correct height according to Singer. Usually when I do these videos, I show how to remove and replace the bars also. But because this vibrating bracket is a very different system than the other machines that I have done, I'm just going to show you in this video how to set the heights. Later, when I work on the bracket, we'll be removing those bars. So on the needle bar here, this one is a little different too, that the two timing marks are up very high on the bar up here. Usually the bearing or bushing is built into the machine down here that the needle bar goes through, and when you lower the needle bar completely down all the way, you'll see the timing marks down here. Okay, but because of this one, they're up at the top. So I'll take a close-up picture of these and insert it here so that you can see how close to the top they are and see them clearly. Okay, so even though these timing marks are at a different location, the process of setting the height of the needle bar is still the same as the other Singer models that I've done, in that you lower the needle bar to the lowest position, and you do that always by turning the hand wheel towards the front of the machine, or turning it towards you. Now when it is at the lowest position, the top timing mark is going to be up here, and it's going to be just barely visible, and that's how you know that you have it at the correct height. You don't want to really see the silver bar showing above the top timing mark, but you do want to see the black timing mark, otherwise you don't know how far up into the bearing it is. So it makes sense, right? So when I tested this one, it was fine, but let me show you, when you want to adjust it, you just loosen this one clamping screw right here. That's it. So we'd go in here and we support it a little bit. Pretty tight. There we go. And we'll do that a half a turn loose, and now you can see that the bar is very loose and movable, right? So now I have my timing marks have dropped down below because my needle bar is down here hitting the presser foot. Now when you set it to the correct height and you tighten the clamping screw, besides the height, you also have to set the position. And the way to do that is that you want the thumb screw, right, to run parallel with the front of the machine, and you want the, I guess what I would call the side of the needle clamp running parallel with the end of the machine like that. So you don't want it twisted, because it'll twist the eye of the needle and your thread, and you'll have the hook will have a problem picking it up. Okay, so usually what I'll do is work on the height first and tighten the screw so that it holds the bar, but I can still barely turn it. And when I've got the height correct up here where the timing mark is barely showing at the bottom of that bushing, then I'll adjust this left or right or forward or back and make sure it's straight. And this bar has a big groove cut into it right here that helps to line it up. So first let me get up here, and I think what I'll do, let's see if I can raise this up a little bit so that I can more easily see this line up here. Maybe I'll turn this a little. So I'm going to get it up for that timing mark to be just barely visible up there. And then I'm going to snug this screw without a final tightening. So see, it's gonna hold this in place now, and then I can double check my height and it looks good. But when I look at this now, I don't think this is quite straight, because when I get right on the end of the machine, it looks just a little bit, the thumb screw pointed off to the right. So let's see, I can just barely apply some pressure on that thumb screw and get it to where I feel it's lined up properly. The side of the needle clamp is parallel like this, and the front of the needle clamp and the thumb screw are parallel here with this. Then I'll double check my height. It's still good. So now all I have to do is clamp down or finish tightening this clamping screw. There we go. So double check, needle bar as low as it will go. I can barely see the bottom of the timing mark here. And let's see if I'm lining up good here. It looks great. It's fine. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do then is work on the presser bar height. So let me get what I need for that, and we'll continue the video. Okay. Now Singer says that the height of this presser bar foot, the bottom of the presser bar foot, I wonder if I can get some more light up here. The bottom of the presser bar foot is 0.290 to 0.300 inches above the top of the needle plate. Right on. And that is very common in a lot of machines that I've done on my channel, including the Rocketeers and the 457, 337, things like that. That's a very common height. So you want to be sure your needle plate or throat plate is flat in the spot that it's supposed to do. And now you're going to turn your hand wheel a little bit, because you do not want the feed dog to be up above the needle plate, because then you'd be measuring from the top of the feed dog to the bottom of the foot. So let me rotate this a little bit and see if I go this way there. Okay. So I can easily see now that the feed dog is below the plate. Okay, and to get that height that I want, I'm going to use 4 $quarter in United States currency, and I'm going to put them under there, and that's almost the perfect height. You see they're a little bit loose. Now you also see here that I have raised this up, right? I got this up. Let me take this down. See, it's down. I've got that pressure bar lifter lever up, and I'm also going to turn this adjusting nut to the left or counterclockwise quite a bit, because I don't want a lot of pressure on it when I'm working on it. Okay, now with that up and my 4/4, if that's all you had, you would be pretty close. You'd be at 0.276 inches. You know? So if that's all you have, it's not bad. But if you want it set more accurate, between 0.290 and 0.300, you're going to need something else. And it's way too thick to put a dime or something like that, so I use a feeler gauge. And what I use, the blade that I use is the 0.019. So I'm going to split the difference of that 0.290 and 0.300, and I'm going to make the height of this 0.295. So I have 276 from the quarters plus 19 is going to be 295. And the way I'm going to do that is support this or lift it up a little and slide my blade in there. Let's see. I think what I'd like to do, I'm going to use the tail side. I'm going to use the back side because it's a little flatter. Some of these quarters, the head of George Washington sticks up a little, makes a little uneven. So I'm going to use the back side of the coin. To me it's a little more flat. Make sure my feed dog is below the needle plate and get my 0.019 in there. There. Now, let's see if I can balance this just right. The way this is supposed to be is when you lift this up, you should be able to lift it just a tiny bit more against the spring. Can you see that move just a little bit? Okay. That's what you want. So if I took this out and lifted it, it's going to stay there, right? But I could lift just a little tiny bit more. And the same thing when it's down. You see how this moves a little bit before it starts to lift? We'll call it play. There's a little bit of loose play in there. Okay, so if I can move it like this, it does not move the foot. And that's the adjustment you're going to get, so that when you're up here, you use that play and you can lift the foot a little tiny bit. Okay, so let's put this back in here now. I have my 4/4. I'm using the back side of the top quarter. I have this up. Feed dog below the needle plate. Get this in here. It's very easy. It's loose. But then when I add my 0.019 in here, did you see that fall? Okay. So now I'm at the correct height. And I didn't change anything. That's how this one was. Okay. And then there's a caveat when you do this, that when you lift up the presser bar foot and the needle bar is all the way down to the bottom, that the needle bar and the presser foot cannot touch or hit here. You don't want that. That means either your presser bar is too low, or your presser bar is too high, or your needle bar is too low. You should be able to come in here and pass a piece of paper between them. See, and I can't do that. See? So I've either set this presser bar too low, or I've set the needle bar too low, or the presser foot bar too high. But remember, I have this forced up. So let's get it up like this. Make sure our needle bar is down. And let's try it with the paper now. And see if I got room. No, see, it's touching there. It's still touching. The two are touching down here, right just at the corner. I can't pass that paper, and this is just copy paper, you know, and I can't get that through. So let's take a look at my height adjustment again. I'm looking right up here and really, whoops, let me raise this up some more. Sorry. I'm looking right up here and I can just barely see the bottom of that top timing mark. So I'm pretty comfortable that my needle bar height is good. Let's take a look at this again, and we'll go down. Make sure I'm down, make sure my presser foot is up. Yeah, and I can see it. I can see it when I raise the presser bar. It actually even moves the needle bar a little bit. See how that moves it up a little? A little bit of play there. So this is a little bit high. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to loosen the set screw, the clamping screw that's right inside here. I wish I could get some better light there. Maybe you can see it shining back in here. It's just like this screw. It's a clamping screw that goes into the guide bracket over here for the presser bar. And that's what clamps the presser bar as far as height. So I'm going to go in there and loosen that just like I loosened the one on the needle bar so that I can make some adjustments here. See if I can support that. Okay, there. So now this should be loose enough to, yeah. See how it's all loose and adjustable now? So let me go back in here and put my 4 quarters, lift that up, make sure my feed dog is still below the plate. That's a real common problem where people have the feed dog up and then their height setting is wrong. I'm going to go up here and loosen this some more. It's pretty tight. Yeah, now see my presser bar lifting lever is just going to be flopping around now, right? Because I've got the clamping screw loose. So let's say that's why Singer gives a range from 0.290 to 0.300, and I tried to go in the middle at 0.295. So let me get a different blade here instead of 0.019. Let me see what my next size would be in here. Push these through. See if I have a 1/8 or a 1/7. There's a 1/7. There's a 1/8. So the difference between the blade is about a 1/2 millimeter. So I'm going to go with the 0.17. That's going to give me a 0.294. 276 and 17. Or 0.293. Okay, let's get my needle bar up out of the way a little bit so I can work. Make sure my feed dog is down below. Lift this up and get my combination height here now. So 276 from 4/4, 0.276, and 0.017. So that should be 293 instead of 295. Now, before I tighten this up, I have to do like the needle bar. I have to align the presser bar foot up with the front of the machine. I don't want my foot twisted like this or like that, right? I can't sew straight with that. So I need to line it up with the front of the machine to be sure. You know, one way to do it is the edge of the presser foot right here is okay with the edge of the needle plate. Or in the front you can see the back side and the holes in the slots in the needle bar for the feed dog. But you want to get that, besides height, it's got to be lined up front to back. I'm going to lift this up, okay, because I have to, it has to be up for this height, right? And then I'm going to tighten that clamp. Now I'm not going to lift this as high as I can because I want that little tiny bit of play. You see the screw going up and down where it goes in the guide? So instead of 100% up, I'm just going to let it come down just a pinch, just a little bit. And then I'm going to tighten the clamping screw pretty good. Not all the way, but I want it to be pretty good. Okay? I'm going to check my alignment here. I'm going to lift this up. Let's see, will it stay up now? Whoa! Sorry. I forgot it's not in the base anymore, sorry. Yep, it stays up. Okay. I can have that little tiny bit of play, and it moves a little bit. I can move the lever a little bit before it starts moving the foot. Okay, so with the presser bar up, can I put my needle bar down here as far as it'll go? And can I pass? Now I can do it. Now I can get in between the two. So now I have a proper gap. And when I eyeball it, the gap actually looks pretty good. So where I went from a 0.295 inch, I went down to a 0.293. I probably could have gone to a 0.294, by using the blade .018. But I've got a lot of work left to do on this machine, so I'm going to call that good. I'm going to call .293 inch good because it's in the range. And we'll look at my lineup here. Looks pretty good. Double check my height. Looks pretty good. So I need to tighten this now completely. I snugged it up pretty good, but now I really need to get in there. Get this over in my right hand. Support it, and I'm really going to bear down on that good because I don't want the presser bar or needle bar moving, you know, when I'm trying to sew. Got all my lighting here and stuff like that, and my camera. So that's setting the height of the needle bar and the presser bar. For those of you that have this model, you may be looking at my needle bar and clamp going, boy, that looks weird, and you're right. After I found out about my broken piece on the tension, and I started to see, okay, what do I have to do to, you know, make a video about the bars here, I went back and looked at the owner's instruction manual, the instruction manual and the parts manual, and I got two pieces missing out of this. And one, research tells me, is very common. They put a real strange kind of clip-on thread guard down here that is very difficult to put on and remove. That's missing. It was broken, and I took what was left of it off. Inside here, to hold the needle itself properly, there's supposed to be a jib in here that fits, and that's missing too. Oh. So I've got to do some looking around for those two. I think I'll be able to find a jib. I've been able to find those before on a couple other models, but I doubt I'm going to be able to find this clip-on thread guard. I mean, it clips right on the bottom of the needle bar. I think they must have fired the guy that designed that, because I've never seen it on other models that came later, like 237, 238, you know, the 300, 400, etc. I've never seen this except on this model. So we'll work on that too. We got another little problem to work out. But I wanted to show you these heights because I'm very interested to find out how to take this vibrating bracket off. Not that you would ever need to or even want to, but what if you did? What if you did want to or need to do that? We're going to find out how to do it next time, and I hope you'll come back and watch that one. Thanks for tuning in today. Take care.